All right, welcome again to the series on creating a Rails application from scratch. I'm Caleb Lape, and I'll be continuing to guide you through the next steps of this process. So the app is a Gumroad Wishlist App. I'm calling it Gumroad Me. And in the last video, we talked a little bit about my process to determine what it is that you want to build. So the thing that you want to build is encapsulated in this concept of the job that it's getting done, that someone wants to get done. And in order to know what the job is, you need to know who the people involved, who are the people who want to do this job, and who are the people that they need to interact with, and so on. So here we have a few of those ideas listed out. I've got the top one listed out in a little bit more detail. But right now, we don't need to worry about that detail quite as much. The next step in the process is sort of a whiteboarding process, and I like to use Miro for this. So you can do this on your own, and you can make it very quick, a very kind of brainstorm level process. If you do it in groups, and have a little bit more of a formal process. A lot of people like to call this event storming, but I'm not going to be very formal with it. I'm just going to throw a bunch of sticky notes down. I'm not going to worry too much about a color coding system. I'm just going to try to get my thoughts out as quickly as possible. So the first thing we're going to do is list out the things that happen in the course of getting this job done. So if we look back, as a Gumroad consumer, I need to make a list of Gumroad products I'd like to own. Okay, so let's think of some kind of milestones along the story of thinking of something that you want to put on a wish list and then putting it on a wish list. So we throw it out there. Let's say visited Gumroad, and we're just going to brainstorm stuff out. And on my Mac, if I press Command D, it duplicates the last sticky, and I can just keep typing. So that way I can have an uninterrupted flow of typing out my thoughts. So someone visits Gumroad, and we're going to just keep it standard. We're going to write these in past tense. They visited Gumroad, saw a product they liked. Okay, let's see. We're gonna have to have created a wish list at some point. And you see, I'm not trying to be very structured. I'm not trying to go in chronological order. I'm just, as the thoughts come to me, as the turning points of the story, so to speak, or the plot points come to me, I just get them down. So created a wish list, added a product to the wish list. Seems like should be pretty straightforward there. That's kind of a path through the application that seems normal, seems likely. So I'm going to go down here, kind of start another path to get the juices flowing again. Maybe they changed their mind about a product. Okay, so they could have maybe bought it already for themselves, or they could have, oh, what's the thing? Oh, here's the thing. That's what I was looking for. So they changed their mind about a product, and the reason I did all that reorganizing was to do this. Sometimes I'll put some little sub notes down here. Change their mind about a product. Lost the need or desire. And then another one, what was the other reason I had? Oh, bought it already. Okay, doesn't matter too much, but it's nice to capture the thoughts as they come to me. Change your mind about a product. So what do you do when you change your mind about a product that is on your wish list? Removed from wish list. Okay. And then what's something that you typically have to do, we're very used to doing in any web application? It's a super boring part of it. So we're going to say authenticated. Okay, and we're just going to let that cover the whole mess of creating a user and all that jazz, logging in, logging out. I think we know how that generally works. So now we've got several different events here. We're keeping it very simple. If you wanted to be really detailed, you could make up another color and say, you know, the pink, for instance, is, what did I call this? A Gumroad consumer. Okay? So then that would indicate that all these events sort of flow from this one person. Oops. And you can get more detailed if you want to. You don't have to put the arrows there. I typically don't, but I thought I'd do this just to make it a little bit clearer what's going on to those who may happen across this board without having had the benefit of watching this video. So now you can see how this process kind of gets started. As you go along, you might make up another color. You add something akin to a policy. I've heard it called policy probably the most. Or you could just call it rules, the rules of your application, right? So instead of allowing this, we could have just said it was a rule. Wish lists are immutable. Okay, we don't want to do that because we like our users, and users get really frustrated with immutable things, because then you would have to, well, I suppose you could duplicate the wish list but only pick the things that go into the new one. That seems kind of clumsy, so we're not going to do that. But there is a reasonable policy that we could put here up front. Again, it's kind of boring because it goes with that authenticated boring thing that is in every application. You know, people have collections of things that are theirs, and they can only see their things, and they can't see the things that other people have created. So users can only see their stuff. Okay, keep it nice and simple. And these may have some relationship to some of these things, but we can keep them off to the side for now. So users can only see their stuff. And a corollary to that is users can only change their stuff. So you could go on and on with that. So here, right off the top of my head, I've kind of started creating a map through the story of how a person would go about doing this job. And this has nothing to do with my software yet. I mean, it has something to do with it because it's defining what we're going to need to implement. But what we're doing here is actually telling the existing story. We're telling the story of someone who already tries to get this job done. They visit Gumroad, they see a product they like, whether it's an index card or an existing wish list app or just a note on their phone. They're going to create a wish list, and they're going to add the product to the wish list somehow. Okay? So here's another big one that I'm going to add before we leave here. And I may sit here and fiddle with this some more later, but I think this illustrates the point pretty well. Let's see. There's another thing here that I just thought of, which is, shared the wish list, right? Maybe you could even say something like birthday. How do you say this in past tense? Birthday became relevant. Yeah, you can think of better words. Sometimes these rules lead us to strange places with wording, but it's good to be consistent. So, birthday becoming relevant, you can see how that would lead to wanting to share the wish list, right? Okay, so now you've got a pretty good overview of how I like to just throw some sticky notes down, do some very lightweight organization and structuring to get my thoughts out there about what we're actually going to accomplish with this app. So in the next video, we're going to pick a path through this application with some interesting events in it that we want to handle. And we're actually going to we're going to spin up a new Rails application, and then we're going to build our first feature. So stick around for that. Hope you got something out of this video. I know I enjoyed making it, and I will see you next time.